Let everybody know who you're going with. You know, we riding with
Yeah.
Saban. We didn't last time.
No.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the Mad Dogs podcast. We got just 4 of us today. It's going to be me, Hitch, Pettigo, and Aven. We're excited to run down some of the stuff that's happened in the last week, and some upcoming stuff for next week. We got a lot to talk about with just us 4, and we are super excited. Again, thank you for listening. If you are listening on Spotify, and thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, we greatly appreciate it. The feedback's been exceptional, and we've loved every minute of recording this podcast. So, just a quick rundown. We're going to talk about Ken Rosenthal and his recently being fired from Mlb Network. We're going to talk about, exactly. We're going to talk about college football free agency. We're going to talk about NFL season award odds, and then we're going to talk about the NBA a little bit. Kyrie's back tonight, but they are currently getting stomped by the Pacers. That may change, probably not. And then we're going to talk. We have our Underdog, Superdawg, and Dog of the Week. We're going to do those, and then we will say goodbye. And boys, I think the most pressing issue today for us, because us being baseball fans, is Ken Rosenthal was fired from Mlb Network because of a recent article that didn't come out, I don't know when it came out exactly, for what he said about his criticisms of Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball. And the first thing I want to say is, does Rob Manfred even need to be commissioner anymore?
I don't even think that's a question.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
One thing that I don't appreciate him doing personally is we have grown up in a world in the United States that loves the sport, which baseball is. I wouldn't say America's favorite pastime anymore. You know, it's gravitated towards football and basketball, and that's just the way it is. I think baseball still gets a lot of views, and Jared Carabas always tweets that, our viewership is up. But he is doing things to grow the game outside of America, which I think it needs to be grown inside of America. You look at the Field of Dreams game between the White Sox and the Yankees this year. Stuff like that will help grow the game in places that do not have teams. I mean, you look at the closest teams in Iowa. Is that where they were? Was it Iowa?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
The closest teams you have up there is, the Royals, the Rockies are over there, and the Brewers. And what they did in Iowa was an absolute awesome game. You couldn't have wrote it any better than that. But we're trying to do games in London and Mexico City. Why?
Don't make no sense to me either. I mean, they got their own leagues down there. I mean, it's obviously not as big time, but I mean, how many of them are going to be able to attend games in the United States or anything like that? Why would you try to make it global?
One thing that kind of bothers me also is why you're going over to London. How many English people sit down and watch baseball? What's their big sport over there? Soccer, right? I mean,
Soccer, yeah.
You see a lot of soccer. We're not going to compete over there as a sport because soccer's been around forever. And I don't think
American football. You can't take American football over there and expect them to latch on and grow it.
Yeah,
it's not their thing.
Yeah, we play. I mean, look at the games we had over there this year. One was the Dolphins and the Jaguars. I mean, the NFL's got something to figure out too.
That's not even the teams you would want to bring over there.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to grow the game, why are you doing the Dolphins and the Jaguars?
Like, if you would have done like a Chiefs Chargers over there, that might gain a little bit of traction.
Exactly.
But no.
Yeah, and luckily for MLB, we did do a good series over there. That was Boston, New York, which was, a fun game. But I just don't see the urgency to grow the game over there when it's not being grown at home, And again, like I said, Carabas always says the viewership is up. A lot of people watch baseball. But moving on to Rob Manfred to Ken Rosenthal. Ken Rosenthal is one of the best reporters that MLB has out there. His personality is awesome.
Ever.
He is, the bow tie is something that we would all, notice, and we would know who that is. And just because he criticizes what's wrong with Major League Baseball? Why is he being fired for that?
This is an article I found just a while ago, or not too long ago. Last season, he also criticized Rob Manfred, and there was a 3-month span that it says publicly unnoticed at first, where he was still paid but wasn't reporting. This is August 31st until the trade deadline. He didn't report on anything. So obviously, this isn't something that just popped up out of nowhere or just one criticism. I think it's almost been like a boiling pot, from what I've read. So it wasn't just like he disagreed with one of the articles he wrote and got rid of him. I think it's kind of been a buildup, but still, Ken Rosenthal has been a staple, I think. And you turn on Mlb Network, he's always on there. Like, and I can remember years and years of just listening to him talk and going to sleep to watching Mlb Network and him reporting on there.
Well, it goes past that. It's not just MLB Network. It's spring training, winter meetings, all the big stuff. Like he's
inside of it all.
He's the main guy. It's gonna be a huge change without him there.
It sucks because he does such a good job. He's very good at what he does. Another guy that I really like is Jeff Passan, who, I mean, every time I see tweets from him all the time. And Ken Rosenthal was somebody I followed on Twitter. Like, this was a guy who was getting the inside scoop. If I wanted to see a trade or something that was going on, he was going to be in the middle of it. And his personality is just so likable. And what I like about Ken Rosenthal is he has the guts to call out Rob Manfred. A lot of these people don't.
Go ahead. It kind of looks like MLB Network's trying to put this off on them, just like redoing their whole lineup overall and trying to like cover up the whole Rob Manfred stuff that's happened between him and Ken Rosenthal. I mean, they also fired.
They just got rid of Chris Rose too, didn't they?
And
That's
Eric
been a while.
Burns. And Eric.
They got
Burns.
Eric Burns when they get rid of him.
Yeah, Eric Burns is gone. I didn't know that until the other day.
Damn.
So they fired both of them too. So
they're like Ray Hall and everything.
I'm thinking this Ken Rosenthal fire, they just kind of put it off on as we're trying to get a new lineup together and get
Which
more
is
people.
crazy because Studio 42 with Eric Burns, bro, that shit's that's awesome to watch.
Yeah.
Him and Harry Reynolds and they're
he's
like,
so different.
Yeah.
So energetic. He's so fun to watch.
Do you think it's a thing of people not, and I hate to say it like this, but kissing Rob Manfred's feet? I mean,
to an extent, yeah. I mean,
you got guys that they're going to call out for the stuff you do bad. That's what reporters do. Like, that's their job.
Yeah, that was his job to point out.
And you're getting mad at somebody who says, hey, maybe this should be different, right? Maybe you should do a little bit something different because you're not doing a good job here. One thing we talked about before we started recording was minor league baseball and the hardships that those guys go through all the time. I mean, these guys don't have houses. They're sleeping in cars. They don't even have hotel rooms. They're sleeping on the floors of lobbies of hotel, and they're expected to get up and play the next day. Now, I know that's not totally MLB's fault because, again, it is funding for minor league baseball. But at what point does Major League Baseball say, hey, those are our future guys? All of our guys that have played, besides the exception of Garrett Crochet maybe, and a couple other guys that are absolute, freaks of nature, those guys are going to play in the minor leagues, and those guys want to make it to the major leagues. How do you get those guys to stay on in the minor leagues to go to the major leagues?
Obviously, you got to pay them. I mean, they're making barely above poverty level to play baseball, which, you play in baseball, so that's a dream in of itself. But you still got to get paid. You got to have somewhere to live, and especially these bigger cities like New York and San Francisco. It's not cheap to live there, No.
And
it goes past that though. Like, they're not able to afford food that's going to help them grow and develop as a baseball player. Like, if you're living off of peanut butter and jellies and McDonald's, that's just as big of a misstep as not being able to sleep in a quality bed and having your own space and doing that and mental health. So it goes way past just housing too.
What shocks me the most though, I mean, outside of not getting paid, I mean, just the fact that they don't have like actual housing or like a meal plan for these guys, where they have it set up to where, you know, you have somewhere to stay, you have food to eat, and we're going to take care of all of it. So on top of not getting paid, they're also having to figure out where they're going to stay and then how they're going to eat too. And I mean,
this is something I just pulled up. This is in 2021. Most minor league players between the months of April to October, 6 months, will make anywhere between $8,000 and $14,000.
That's unreal. That's unreal.
You can go flip hamburgers and make more money than that.
Oh yeah, you can.
Like, really?
And you want guys to stay in the league, and you say, "Oh yeah, this is the future." It can't be the future when you're not. And it's aside from the money, because if you ask those guys, man, it's all about the experience, man. I want to play baseball, whatever. But these guys can't live. These guys can't eat. These guys can't even sleep in a bed. They have to sleep on the floor.
You gotta love
benches.
the game of baseball.
You'd really have to love the game.
But I mean, these are like the next, like, these are your next Shohei's, Bryce Harper's, and Mike Trout's to the league. Yeah. And the fact that there's, you know, have nowhere to sleep or food to eat is just ridiculous. Because I mean, could you imagine Mike Trout being in the minors right now? Like, I mean, obviously, you know,
developing Mike Trout.
Yeah.
You know.
And he comes out.
Well,
like
the thing about it is, though, they got the money. They got the money from their signing bonus or whatever. So they like the high draft picks. They might not have to worry about this as much as like a 15th, 20 round draft pick or lower. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Because they do get that signing bonus.
You have a ton of rounds in the MLB draft. It's not like 7 rounds in the NFL.
Think about Houston Harden, who signed as a quote unquote free agent to play. Like, he's not making awesome money. Now he loves to play the game. Yeah. We all know who. Yeah. But still, like, it's gonna be hard for him to have a good lifestyle. Where is he at, in San Francisco? Is that where
he's with the Angels? I don't really know. I think he's with the Angels.
I don't know where the double A team's located at.
I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea.
That's what I was thinking. Because he was playing double A.
Yeah, this is a pressing issue. I understand why they have the lockout. And a lot of people are going to say, man, they don't deserve that much money. But do you know how hard it is to get to Major League Baseball? If you knew what they had to go through, like we're telling you right now, we don't even know it. I mean, me and Hitch played junior college baseball, right? And we're on long buses, and we're supposed to play after a 3-hour bus ride, get back on the bus, ride 3 hours home. It's 2 a.m., and we're expected to be at our 8 a.m., right? I mean, we're expected to be there.
Yeah.
These guys, and we're not getting paid for it. And what these guys go through is 10 times worse. You know, you get on a plane. You don't even get on a plane.
Bus or vans?
Maybe. Yeah, vans to your next game. You're expected to play. And then you got to sleep on the floor of a hotel? No. I mean, that shouldn't happen. What I want to bring up.
I think the money issue even goes up to like the major league level, because you have 3 years in the majors before you're available for arbitration.
The contracts are so ridiculous.
So it's awful. Like Vladimir Guerrero
goes back to the lockout. They're wanting it to be 2 years now.
Yeah. You mean to tell me Vlad Jr., who is arguably, I think he's a top 5 hitter in baseball. I think he will be for the rest of his career. A guy that's top 5 hitter in baseball, and he's making how much? I mean, you look at Acuna and all these deals as well. Those guys are not making
$605,000.
They agreed to that though.
You gotta think this dude almost won
you did
this year.
But the thing is Vladdy does come from money. I mean, his dad is a fantastic hitter. He made a lot of money in the majors, whatever. But Acuna and Albies, no. I mean, guys like that. Wander Franco probably came from, he's from the Dominican. We all know that it's a rough ride down there. If you come from the Dominican, want to go straight to the league. Yeah. Moving on from minor league baseball, when you look, somebody harped on it earlier that they're kind of redoing their whole lineup. Do you think Rob Manfred or the MLB Network is at fault for firing Ken Rosenthal? Do you think it's a mix of both?
I think I'd blame it more on MLB Network at this point. I mean, has Manfred even commented on anything that Rosenthal said? Do y'all know?
I doubt it.
You can't come out and openly say something about one of your employees.
That'll do
regardless of
more
how
to
bad
him
it
than
is.
him keeping Rosenthal and having him shit on him all
Well,
the time.
here's my thing. I mean, Manfred's got his hands full as it is. I doubt Ken Rosenthal saying anything is going to bring up any like interest in what he's doing right now. So I'd put the whole blame on MLB Network on this. I think they're trying to be buddy with.
I don't know if they want Rosenthal, and I feel like this is what the MLB would want them to do is go ask the higher ups what's going on. But we don't care about what the higher ups think. I don't care. I want to hear what the players have to say about their contracts. MLB is the ones.
They're not allowed to say anything right now.
I know that's what I'm saying.
Aren't.
Like,
yeah,
Ken Rosenthal should just go off on his own.
He's the speaking voice for the actual players right now.
Yeah, he cares.
Voice. And then
he cares
got fired,
a lot.
So.
He cares a lot, and that's what I like about him. I'm sad to see him go. I know that y'all. I mean, every time you turn on the MLB Network, I mean, you see Ken Rosenthal, you see the bow tie, you see the dude who loves the game of baseball, and now to see him gone, it's kind of weird. I think it's a bunch of bull crap. I don't agree with it. I don't care what, unless he came out and said that Manfred just straight up sucks at his job and needs to be fired, which I don't think he did. I think he should have stayed in where he was. So that's just my opinion.
You touched on the point earlier about, MLB trying to grow, obviously, within the United States, too. I mean, I don't think there's a better ambassador for it than Ken Rosenthal. So just the firing don't make no sense to me at all.
Yep.
Whoever they get to replace him, they'll have some big shoes to fill. They'll have to get. I mean, you can't get one person to replace him. Yeah, like one person can't fill those shoes.
Yeah. I think. Unfortunately, I think that's enough baseball talk. Because of the lockout, there's really not a lot to talk about. But that was a big thing that we found out, and he came out and tweeted. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he did make it known that he was let go by the MLB Network. But it's sad to see him go. Great dude, loves the game of baseball, and that's who we need at the helm of Major League Baseball. Somebody who loves the game. So that's all my thoughts on it. We're gonna move on to
on the bright side too. To add on to that is he's still with Fox though, so we're still gonna see him, just not with MLB Network. So
which is good. But if Fox needs to do anything, they need to fix their scoreboard for the playoffs because that thing was atrocious. God, that was ugly.
Let's hope all this gets figured out, though, because I mean,
yeah, I agree. I want to watch some baseball this year, and I want spring training to be on schedule.
It also took the fun out of free agency a little, which is pretty exciting.
It did. It did. We're gonna move on to what I like to call college football free agency. This thing has been a whirlwind between coaches and players. It's probably been the best offseason we've seen in college football, and it's not even off season technically yet, but it's been one of the better ones we've seen. And I'll compare it to NBA, MLB, NFL, whatever. But the most pressing issue for us, we live in Mississippi. We have two Ole Miss fans in the chat right now. John Rice Plumlee, who put a novel on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that, 5 tweets to say thank you, Ole Miss. But he is leaving Ole Miss. And I want to know what y'all think, especially two Ole Miss fans. Do y'all think y'all miss him on baseball or football? And this is also coming out right after Jaron Ely and Dontario Drummond declared for the NFL draft. So I just want to know what y'all think about John Rice Plumlee moving on from Oxford.
From a personal standpoint, I mean, I think I'll miss having John Rice out there in the dugout, on the sidelines. But I mean, outside of that, he didn't really get much playing time either way. So I think from like the team standpoint, you're not going to miss him too much on the field, which he's a great athlete. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, he didn't fit into, Lane Kiffin's offense. And baseball, we just have more guys out there that's more talented than he was. So personally, and from a personal standpoint, you'll miss him because, I mean, he's a great guy. And a great face for Ole Miss sports, but athletic wise, I mean, I don't think we'll miss him on either field.
as far as an impact on the field, he didn't have much. He did have that one year he had most of the snaps from quarterback and helped out then. Baseball-wise, didn't get a whole lot of playing time. I think where they're going to miss him at is in the locker room. He's one of those locker room leaders.
Yeah.
In my opinion. He's such a high morale guy. That's what we're going to miss him. On-field impact, not as much, but definitely for morale, it's going to hurt them. Electric guy.
Yeah, you would. You would see him make a play on the field and he get his guys hyped up. So I definitely think the guys around him liked him. I think there's no question about that. I think we can all agree with that. But again, in baseball, 244 hitter, and he's the backup quarterback for your football team. Do you think the 5 tweets was a little much for a guy leaving, and he obviously didn't want to stay there? Do you think the 5 tweets should have been, or just a quick little 1 tweet would have been enough?
Coming for, if you weren't an Ole Miss fan, I don't think I think it was excessive. But he's an Oxford superstar. He's a like everyone in Oxford looks up to him. Everyone sees him on campus. He's that dude. He's the Will Rodgers of Starkville, pretty much. Like I know Matt Corral's a starting quarterback, but John was that dude. Like everyone knew him. He was just he had that presence.
Really likable guy. I saw a tweet the other day that said Madison County moms group messages are going crazy right now. So.
Yeah, and, I mean, yeah, he was a great athlete. Now Pettigo, or Aven, do you think there's a place that he wants to go or he's looking at right now? Do y'all know?
Yeah, I mean, I figure Central Florida is going to be on the top of his list. I mean, it'd be a great fit for him. You got Gus Malzahn there, so he's going to run kind of that SEC offense. Now, if he goes to play receiver or quarterback or whatever, I don't know. But I think
let me cut in real quick. Let me cut in real quick. Do you think he left because he wants to play quarterback, or do you think he just didn't like the amount of snaps he was getting or wide receiver? He wants to play quarterback.
He wants to play quarterback.
Yeah, he turned down Georgia because they wanted to play defensive back, and that's the whole reason he was coming to Ole Miss. So he was like, "Yeah, you'll be able to play quarterback here." And then you had this guy named Matt Corral come in the same year he did, and it just didn't work out for him.
Yeah, and he's gonna go out. He's gonna play every snap he's able to, wherever he goes. If he goes to UCF, he's playing every snap. Baseball and football.
That's another thing about him. He's going to give you 100% on the field. I think he's a really good athlete, and I think he'll do fine at UCF or, one of these other maybe G5 schools if he decides to go to one of those, But he just didn't fit into that Ole Miss Lane Kiffin offense very well.
Yeah, he seemed like a good dude. All of Oxford loved him, like you said. It's just a bad stroke of luck. I mean, you get Matt Corral there, and you're like, okay, well, he's leaving this year. Maybe I'll be okay. And Luke Altmaier goes and does the performance he does as a freshman, getting thrown in against a really, really good defense. He does. I mean, I'm not going to say great. I think he did well enough to be like, okay, this is our guy, right? Yeah. So unfortunately, he just gets a bad stroke of luck.
For sure.
Yeah. I think he's going to be good down the road. Unfortunately for John Rice, who is a great guy, it just is bad timing for him. If he comes to Ole Miss 3 or 4 years ago, right? But who'd y'all have between Chad Kelly and Matt Corral? Are they back to back?
Shea Patterson, Jordan Teamu.
Okay, so if he comes in there,
I forgot about him.
he might, because he's a great runner. I mean, we can all agree with that.
Yeah.
If you give him reps passing, I think he can figure it out because he's smart. But he's a great runner. Really good runner.
You got to think, this dude went toe-to-toe with that LSU team that people are saying, they're possibly one of the best college football teams ever. So, he held his own scoring against that defense. So
yeah, he did. Moving on from Ole Miss, kind of one of the big ones from this week, and this still baffles me. I'm going to explain the whole situation in about 5 seconds, as fast as possible. Okay, so Caleb Williams earlier this week says he's entering the transfer portal, which I understand. They get Britton Venables. He's not Lincoln Riley. And then they get Jeff Lebby from Ole Miss. So we say, okay. But he makes a statement that he might go back to Oklahoma, which I thought was weird. I was like, okay. I think personally that he would, he was still going to have the starting job at Oklahoma regardless of if he, whoever went there. But then Oklahoma says, yeah, we're going to get this guy named Dillon Gabriel, who recently said he was going to UCLA, which I also thought was weird. Now, Pettigo and Aven say it's because of Jeff Lebby. I think that makes sense. He's going to run the offense that Dillon Gabriel wants to run. I don't remember who the new coach at UCLA is. There's so many coaching changes. So Caleb Williams, I don't know if he came out and directly said it, but I think it's safe to say he will not be in Oklahoma this fall.
I don't think so. I think what he's going to do is he's going to test the waters on NIL deals before he settles on anything. That's my opinion. Yeah. That's a lot of competition. You say Caleb Williams gets that starting job. It's tough to say. Yeah. Lebby's worked with Gabriel before. So I don't know who for sure gets that job. It's all in the fall or in the spring. Whoever works harder in the spring, and then it'll be determined, I think, from that.
I like Dillon Gabriel as an athlete. I think Caleb Williams' head and shoulders got more. More. What's the word I'm looking for?
Upside.
Potential.
Sure.
Upside. Because that dude is an absolute athlete. And when I said that he would have this starting job, I kind of meant towards Oklahoma lost their guys recruiting wise. They're not coming. Also, I don't know if you saw this, but their number one wide receiver recruit from last year's class, Mario Williams, is also in the transfer portal, so he won't be there.
He just committed somewhere.
Did he?
I don't know.
So I kind of think that I personally thought Caleb Williams was going to stay when he made that comment. You don't make that comment and just leave, right? I think when you say something like, "Oh, I possibly could go back to Oklahoma," you kind of say, "Hey, I want to stay home," But now that's not happening. I mean, you got Dillon Gabriel, who, like y'all said, has run Jeff Lebby's offense. I feel like Jeff Lebby is going to want Gabriel to go. And we'll talk about Oklahoma's kind of, potential at a later date. But for Caleb Williams, I mean, you got to find a place that's going to run an offense similar to Lincoln Riley's. And what other team runs an offense like Lincoln Riley's?
None.
Yeah.
Very few.
I like Caleb Williams. I think he's a great athlete. Spencer Rattler in South Carolina now. But Caleb Williams also, I mean, when he got thrown in that Texas game, I mean, they should have lost to Texas 100%. And Spencer Rattler is weird, right? I mean, this guy, top recruit, his attitude is not very good. We've seen that multiple times, but the dude's still an athlete. Dude can play football. And when Caleb Williams as a freshman stepped up and comes back and beats Texas, I mean, at that moment in time, I'm thinking that Caleb Williams is guy for Oklahoma for the next 3 or 4 years, like another Baker, another Kyler Murray. And now it's going to be really weird to see Caleb Williams go somewhere else when he did such a good job at Oklahoma as a freshman.
Also, I just want to throw out there, I hate to backtrack, but I mean, I know Ole Miss fans are worried about how the future is going to end up with Luke Altmaier and everything, but just to throw out there, Caleb Williams played the same Baylor defense that we did, and I want y'all to listen to his numbers real quick. All right, he went 10 for 19 with 146 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
Also, that game is when Spencer Rattler came back into that game.
Yeah.
So, it's weird. This whole situation weird, but
definitely the biggest name I believe in the transfer portal right now.
Absolutely.
Or maybe all time. Can definitely reshape a whole program. That's somebody that you can build around, recruit around. Definitely gonna have a big impact. But whatever program he decides to.
He's gonna be a dude that goes in and he makes a tremendous impact on wherever the offense is around him. Again, I mean, you said 10 and 19. Ole Miss fans, you can be okay because he is a freshman. And Spencer Sanders, a guy we saw have a monster second half against a Notre Dame defense, against a defensive head coach, had 4 interceptions against his Baylor defense. So he didn't play well either. Caleb Williams is going to be really good. I like him. I think you can put him in a Heisman race for next year. which, wherever he goes, I hope I'm the best because I really do like the kid. I think he's very talented.
Love to watch him play.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up at like USC. Just follow your coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, Ole Miss is in the market
which
for a
they just lost their quarterback. We talked about it last time. First episode, Keaton Slovis is going to Pittsburgh, so USC. I'm sure they have a top recruit. Let's be honest, but
And then kind of a dark horse. I was just reading up on it. I mean, they're talking about Maryland looking at him, which I doubt you go to Maryland over some of the offers you get. But
yeah,
I would say no to that. But you look at Spencer Rattler going to South Carolina, so it's like it's hard to say. Like you don't know what's going to happen.
God, I remember too. His brother was in Maryland. They have a good offense.
I think South Carolina got another good transfer, though. Did they not?
They got a tight end out of Oklahoma, too.
Great. Good thing we don't play them this year, Hitch. Play Georgia this year, though. That'll be fun.
We're going to love that, ain't we?
God, I can't believe that. Who's Ole Miss? They play Vandy and who else in the East?
Oh,
I don't even know.
I'll look at the schedule and get back with it.
But Aven, I'm gonna transfer to something you said about the NIL deals. NIL has been the hottest talking point in college football for this offseason, for this upcoming offseason. It's going to be very important to see recruiting wise and transfer portal wise, because I think Quinn Ewers, who got all that money from Ohio State, now he's leaving. He's going to Texas. This one, do you think in the next couple of years, do you think coaches will use that NIL deal to focus more on high school athletes or maybe use the transfer portal a little bit better?
It's hard to say. I would lean more toward the transfer portal. You get the guys you know what they can do. You've seen what they've done. High school, I think, same old recruiting. But you get someone out of a transfer portal who's played. You have stats against teams you've played against or coached against. I for sure think people start recruiting more out of the transfer portal. I think the NIL deals are kind of bad for college football right now. In my opinion.
So that was going to be my next question. Do you think it's good or bad for college athletics? I'm kind of on your side. I don't mind that college athletes get paid. I know what they go through and how hard and vigorous their training and stuff is. But what they're doing, signing $1 million contracts with anything is a little bit kind of eye-opening. We thought it was a good thing at first, but is this something that we need to kind of backtrack on now?
Absolutely.
NIL is fine. I think it's fine for like the players getting paid and stuff, but like people are leaving their schools after 1 year trying to get more somewhere else. And I think that's bad for a lot of teams everywhere because it's hard to build a system around a different quarterback or a different player every single year.
I kind of wish we could go back and see where the transition started from I know people's been transferring for a while, but obviously the past few years you could see it gradually just growing and growing and growing.
It's never been like this. This is ridiculous.
Right. And I'm kind of curious about what caused that and when it's actually started because, they had rules on certain transfers. Like used to, if you played for an SEC West team and you wanted to transfer, you weren't going to play for another SEC West team.
Mm-hmm.
Or possibly SEC team at all. Yeah.
So for a guy like Arch Manning, who is going to be a top recruit, and I think it's 2 years, for a guy like this, do you think he cares more about how much money he's going to make at a school or playing for a school that he wants to be at?
I think for Arch, it's going to be playing for a school he wants to be at. I mean, he's a Madden, so.
Yeah.
They got money.
Yeah, he ain't got to worry about money.
They don't have that hardship some of them other players are going to have.
I mean, I'm pulling for my future Ole Miss quarterback, so.
Well, all right. No.
We can hope. I think it's worse. I think it's worse on the athletes than it is the school, because they say you're a student athlete and student comes first. You start transferring schools. Every school's gonna have a different curriculum. Like if you're if you go to a school for a year, get an NIL deal, and decide to transfer. You're going to go to a different school with a different curriculum. Classes are going to change. Some stuff may not transfer over. Like, you got to think big. I know most of the guys who are signing big deals are probably going to play in the league. But still, you got to look at from a college standpoint. You're still a student, and you still got to get an education. You still got to go to class.
So moving on from football, because I put all college athletics, kind of a big one would be, all right, if you don't do football, let's say you are playing baseball, you know how hard it is to get into a league. Do you take that money and run with it and try to go somewhere where you're going to make more money? And then schools who have big programs, Mississippi State, Ole Miss being two of them, great programs, they bring in a lot of revenue. Do you think they look at those schools more than like a Missouri or Tennessee, who don't bring in as much money?
Yeah, you'd think they would.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean,
because
I think NIL deals actually open up the door for smaller programs, because now they don't have to, use scholarships. They can use that money.
Yeah.
What is it, 11 scholarships, 11 and a half scholarships, something they have to recruit players.
Yeah.
Now they can
it's
go out.
Ridiculous, by the way. I'm going to go on a rant
ridiculous.
right here real quick. Ole Miss is spending a ton of money on their new program, which is awesome. I think it's great.
What is
Upgrade your stadium. Do whatever.
North of $30 million.
Yeah, okay. Then, okay, you got that. Why do you not have another assistant paid coach, and why do we have 11 scholarships? Why?
Ridiculous.
If you bring in that much money, okay, for any school, and I'm talking about Mississippi State, I'm talking about Ole Miss, I'm talking about anywhere. I'm talking about, even down to D2. How in the world are we paying 2 assistant coaches? And how in the world are we giving 30 guys, to split 11 scholarships? Are you kidding me?
It's ridiculous, yeah.
This is a pressing issue that needs to be addressed now, before NIL. You want your team to get better, you hire better assistant coaches. But how are you going to tell them to come to your school when you can't even pay them?
Right.
Hitch, we had a coach in Northeast that was living on the head coach's couch. That can't happen.
He's a great coach. He was a very good coach and recruiter.
Absolutely. How in the world? And then my next question is, how do you got guys who are fighting for a scholarship, and they say, oh, yeah, we can only use 1/3 of a scholarship for you. Some of them need the whole scholarship. There are guys that are out there that are smart, and they get a full ride. But you can't use a full ride sometimes. You got to have – how 30 guys need to split 11 scholarships? How is that even fair?
That's one of those things you can't really answer.
It's all about money,
That loses a lot of really good baseball players, too, because they can't afford that. You got to have more than that.
Right.
Myself included, some of these places, they want you to pay $15,000 a year. That's a lot of money on top of a scholarship.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear the excuse anymore that they don't have the money, because a lot of these schools do.
They have the money.
I just watched State and Ole Miss do what they did. They have the money. College World Series, the NCAA baseball makes that money. I know they do.
And it might be a little easier for these SEC teams like Ole Miss or State, and obviously Vandy and LSU and Florida and all these guys to pull some of these guys and be like, oh, we only got 11 scholarships. We're going to offer you half scholarship, but you're playing SEC baseball.
Yeah, but half scholarship in the SEC, that's high end. A lot of them guys are getting quarter scholarships.
A lot of them don't get that.
Yeah.
That just brings up my other point. How much harder is it for these smaller schools that have been good for years? Help me throw one out there. Not Eastern Carolina. What's the other one?
Coastal Carolina.
Coastal Carolina. All teams like that. How much harder is it for them to get these guys and stay a good program like they have been?
I'm gonna throw this out there. At UNA, all 3 sports, basketball, football, and baseball, had to share a weight room. That's hard to do. You're a university. You're a D1 school, and you're sharing a locker room. I'd be in the gym there and see 10 baseball players coming in to work out because there wasn't enough room in their weight room.
Yeah, that sounds
Like,
like
that's
a
That's how
high
me and
school.
Wilky were
Yeah.
at Northeast.
Yeah.
It's hard. We had to
Yeah, Northeast would do
reschedule all
that.
the time for football.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is you're playing in the best state for baseball, JUCO wise.
Oh yeah,
and-
powerhouse. Mississippi's
Yeah.
got one of the best JUCO.
And I don't want to sit here and complain because I don't know the logistics of it. But at least get a third paid assistant. I think those guys deserve that at least for you.
At the very least. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can't figure out the scholarship option right now, that's okay. But at least a third assistant, because I think a lot of programs need that third assistant to be really good. And a lot of programs do it without it. I understand, but that third assistant would be. I mean, you get a guy that's a former player, and now you get to pay him. They want to come back. A lot of people like that. So I don't know.
You had a lot of guys too going to grad school to be a grad assistant, just so they could be an
Yeah.
assistant coach, just so they can put that down. You know,
Yeah.
going back to
Mhm.
school just to help coach. You know, it's crazy.
Did they not have a vote or something not too long ago about the other assistants getting paid? It wasn't that long ago, was it?
I mean,
No,
if
it's
they
probably
did,
like
I
a
mean,
year
they're
ago.
still not getting paid. So
No, I mean
So,
it didn't. It didn't.
it's ridiculous. Any closing remarks on NIL deals right now, and then we'll move on.
I think for the next year or two, it'll still be a big thing, but I think in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a big decline. It's going to be more restricted. It's going to be, it's not going to be as popular as it is now.
There needs to be more rules around it. They need to build off what they did.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm okay with it
obviously
starting
just a
off
starting
free.
point.
Yeah, I'm okay with it starting off free to do whatever you want. But at some point there do need to be rules in place. Because like Aven, the biggest said, I mean, guys, your education is key for a lot of these guys aren't going to go play in the NFL. So your education is key.
Yeah.
If you're not staying in one place, getting your education, you got to worry about all these hoops to jump through. Then you're getting behind. And if you don't end up making it, then, you know, you're kind of screwed. But that's
you don't want to
kinda all
take
I
6 years to get a bachelor degree. You don't.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. No, you're right. That's kind of all I have to say on the NIL deals. If y'all have anything else to say, y'all go ahead and say it.
Real quick. So NIL deals, right? How do they work exactly? So is it like the whole team, like the team's sponsored by somebody or has somebody that's paying?
I think it
these
goes by
players?
player.
It's just by the athlete.
So I mean, if you're 2-3-star athlete coming into one of these schools, you're not going to get one, right? I mean, unless you just break out.
I mean, if you break out, yeah, you could.
I mean,
So
obviously,
the
like
best
Dak Prescott would have had one, or you know, something like that.
Yeah.
But like outside of like,
so-
if you don't.
But
Like, if
okay,
you
so
don't-
kind of to say this, yeah, it does kind of work off the program. So, Alabama, who has all these 5 stars, whatever, they want to pay these guys to stay at Alabama, right? A lot of these Alabama shops and markets and everything, they're going to use their money to keep these guys at Alabama.
Right,
For
I mean,
a school like Memphis, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you can try a lot of these guys. They don't know which ones are good. I don't know. It's kind of hard to gauge. I know it does.
well, I was kind of getting.
It does
that,
go by
though.
program.
I mean, in the long run, like, I mean, it's not going to change recruiting just a crap ton, is it? I mean, because these bigger schools are going to have more money to offer, and you think, I mean,
It's gonna be the same thing still. I mean, because all your big programs are in big, like they're gonna have big time pay.
Have you heard about the A&M thing that's going on right now?
No.
Setting up players with independent sponsors so they will get paid to come to play with that wasn't affiliated with the program. You know, they've been doing that forever, for apparently a couple of years now. You see their roster.
Yeah. Well, now there's kind of I was about to say something. I kind of lost my train of thought.
I don't know.
I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work towards more how the transfer portal works. Getting big transfers. Hey, you're gonna make more money over here. Why would you stay there? Or why would you go there over here when you're gonna make more money over here?
Maybe the NIL deals don't get restricted as much, but maybe the transfer portal does. That may be something they'll have to.
I think they're gonna end up going hand in hand though, at some point.
That's what I'm thinking.
Right?
I mean, like, just to put in perspective on like I mean, you've got guys that sit backing up positions 2-3 years. They're ready to play, and then you got these guys coming in from the transfer portal, and now they're making money and they've got the starting jobs. I mean, you think that just add more to the transfer portal? Like, I just sat here 2 years wasting my time for somebody else to come in and take my spot.
I bet you it's kind of like a concern for these athletes.
Right. I mean, if it were me, I'd be a little worried about it.
Yeah.
If I haven't solidified a starting spot.
If you're looking at a guy to transfer, though, wouldn't you look at the roster a little bit and be like, hey, they have 2 freshmen, and I would go there because I'm going to start there. So
I mean, I don't think a transfer is going to be like, I'm going to go here where this guy's been starting for 3 years at quarterback to put up really good numbers.
Yeah.
They're going to go somewhere that, competes, and they need a quarterback.
Yeah, they're going I'm going to use this example, but that's like coming to Mississippi State and being like, oh, I'm a quarterback, I'm going to go to State. Oh, but Will Rodgers hit over for over 4,500 yards and 76 completion percentage. Well, let me go there. No one's going to do that. Surely. I hope not.
KJ tried, and he saw what happened to him.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on from the NIL deals. Talk a little bit NFL. Coming up on the last week, we talked about kind of a Week 18 preview, kind of what's supposed to happen next week. Again, the big game is the Chargers Raiders on Sunday night. Winner is going to the playoffs if Jacksonville, or if the Colts beat Jacksonville. I think we all think that's going to happen. I kind of want to focus on the end of season awards. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's really one award that's all wrapped up, and I think we'll talk about it later. It's the Defensive Rookie of the Year. But the other ones are kind of open. But we've had some big performances in the last couple of weeks that have kind of taken it over. I want to start with the MVP. My question first, before I read out these odds, is who deserves the MVP for the NFL this year?
Oh, that's tough, man. It's tough.
You'd have to say Aaron Rodgers, or
if you're going QB, it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, okay, so it's a QB award. A QB is going to win it, but it's hard not to throw Jonathan Taylor or even Cooper Kupp in there, really. So,
I would love to see one of them
technically they're top 5, right? So
Do what?
they're in there.
Yeah,
but like, has their seasons been more impressive than what Aaron Rodgers has done this season? Like, respective to their position.
I guess it's how you look at it, really.
Yeah, let me read out the odds real quick. So, number 1 is Aaron Rodgers. He is minus 500. He is the favorite by a pretty good margin. The next and second is Tom Brady. He's plus 600. In third place, this one kind of shocked me, but he has had 3 really good weeks in a row. Dude's been insane. Is Joe Burrow at plus 1,200. He is in third. Yep. Cooper Kupp is in fourth at plus 1,400. And Jonathan Taylor's tied with him in fourth, plus 1,400. My question is, why is Jonathan Taylor so low at plus 1,400?
He's a running back.
That's the only answer to that. It's position. Same thing with Cooper Kupp.
Is the MVP award really the best quarterback award?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it's turned into.
Why
unless you are just absolutely like record breaking, like 2,000 yards rushing / receiving, that'd be the only way you could get in there, right?
Yeah. Unless you pulled some Devontae Smith stuff at Alabama, you can just go off for however many touchdowns.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen in the NFL. It's just they're too good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jamar Chase pulled Devontae Smith last week. That was insane. I think Jonathan Taylor has been the main asset for this Colts success. And I'm going to tell you why. His touchdown streak, first off, was incredible. I don't think he got in the end zone against the Patriots, and they won 27-17 because he had 179 yards on the ground. That's insane. What this dude's doing if you had Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, right? Derrick Henry's going to get a bunch of more carries. But I still think they end up close to the same amount of yards just because Jonathan Taylor has been a freak on the ground. Now, I understand their offensive line's good, but this hadn't been a product of Carson Wentz. I think we can all agree. Carson Wentz ain't pulling this team to the playoffs. It's been Jonathan Taylor on the ground, and Jonathan Taylor sets same way that Derrick Henry sets up success for Tannehill. Jonathan Taylor sets up success for Carson Wentz.
Sure.
Yeah, I would say that.
You got it.
Okay. Jonathan Taylor for sure has had a better impact on his team. You think a most valuable player, it's hard to go off a stat line because think of Tom Brady, who's in such a good system. Like you a mediocre
Great
quarterback.
Defense,
you see that
good offense.
Great defense. You see that with Mac Jones. Like Mac Jones is a great quarterback, but now you put him down in Jacksonville, dude isn't going to put up those numbers. If you're in a good system like that, you're easily replaceable. You saw it with Mac Jones stepped in after Tom Brady, or this year has anyway, and it's still that team Paige has been very successful this year. Yeah, so I do think Jonathan Taylor has had a greater impact on that Colts team than anyone else on their team, maybe outside of Rodgers.
Yeah, I would disagree with you because I think Rodgers, he's meant more to the Packers than Taylor. Yeah. I'm not saying by a wide margin. I'm saying that because their whole defense has been out. Like their key playmakers, Jair Alexander, Zadarius Smith, they've been out. And all he really has is one bona fide wide receiver. I mean, they got
two good running backs.
I mean, Aaron Jones has been hurt a lot, and A.J. Dillon stepped up. I mean, that's what happened. Yeah. But, I'm saying you take Rodgers off that team, they might be 500 if you're lucky. I mean, he's had to win a lot of close games.
Yeah. I think what helps Rodgers' case a little bit is we saw Jordan Love play, and he was atrocious. So I don't know if they would have won any games, Hitch. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's what helped.
The fact that he got a number 1 seed with what he had to work with.
Yeah. So my argument for Jonathan Taylor is the two backs behind him. I believe they're Nyheim Hines, and I don't know if Marlon Mack is still on this team. So Marlon Mack would be the guy behind him. Those guys would not, if you put them together, I don't think they have the ability to do what Jonathan Taylor has done this year. That's kind of my argument for him. Again, Nyheim Hines is mainly a receiving back. We've seen that all year. And Marlon Mack has had success in Indianapolis. I remember a couple of years ago, he was a great fantasy running back. But this Jonathan Taylor, what he's done this year, to rival that of Derrick Henry, which Derrick Henry is a great running back as well. I think Jonathan Taylor has been a step up from Hines and Mack. I think he's been incredible. I think it should not go unnoticed how good he's been this year. I think he should definitely be mentioned, but I agree with you. I think this has become a quarterback award. The only time you're really going to see somebody that's not a quarterback win this is when you see numbers like Megatron or numbers like Derrick Henry last year. You have to see something like that. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to win it, but I think Jonathan Taylor should definitely be mentioned for it.
I think another thing, too, that impacts their odds is how successful your actual team is. I'm not saying the Colts aren't successful, but they're not one of the teams that are blowing people out or just running their division. So I think that hurts Jonathan Taylor, too.
Also bringing that up, though, I mean, he's the reason that where they're at right now, too. I mean, they're still in playoff talks, and it's because of him. I don't think there's any questions about it. Also, to bring it up, I mean, obviously, if you're rushing for 800 or 1,800 yards, I mean, it don't really matter. But, I mean, he's only had 37 receptions through the air this year. I mean, he's only got 342 receiving yards. I mean, do y'all think that'd play into, if, let's say he does get a little more receptions, a little more yardage, you think that'd play into
No shot.
It's not his game. I mean, it's part of his game, but that's not – why would you do that when he's averaging probably, 5.5 yards a carry?
That's what I'm saying.
Why would you do that?
He was actually dead on with that, by the way.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
What's Derrick Henry averaging? 4.1?
You want me to look it up?
Please.
That's the thing.
I'm taking my shot at Derrick Henry. I'm taking it right now.
You wouldn't ask Aaron Rodgers to play in a dual threat system. Same way you wouldn't ask Jonathan Taylor to be a receiving back. You just can't.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm gonna say Derrick Henry is probably 4.4, 4.5.
4.3 this year.
See, that's my point right there, man.
yards per carry.
And
That's a good thing.
He'll go 20 carries at 2 yards a carry and break off a 6-yarder. People like King Henry, baby, King Henry.
Yeah.
No,
I think yards after contact has something to do with it, but I think Jonathan Taylor's also done good yards after contact this year.
Right.
With Aaron Rodgers winning last year, he's probably going to repeat this year. 2 in a row for Rodgers. If he hadn't cemented the legacy before, do you think he needs another Super Bowl to cement his legacy, or do you think he's already hit it with another MVP this year?
I think he's already hit it regardless of MVP this year.
Yeah.
Dude's already a Hall of
He's the
Famer.
greatest quarterback of all time.
Damn,
Whoa.
Whoa.
He's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, he is.
Athlete-wise and skill-wise, I mean,
No, he is the greatest quarterback of all time. There's
he's
no question
really
about it. I mean, I've been fucked so many times as a Cowboys fan by that dude. So many times.
I believe this will be his 3rd MVP, right?
That sounds right.
This year.
He
I think
got
this will
one
be
the
his
year
3rd.
he won the Super Bowl, right?
And then he won
Right.
yeah. So I think this is his 3rd.
And then last
Rodgers. It's hard to go right after a great Brett Favre, and Rodgers stood up to the task. He did a great job in Green Bay his whole career. I think he'll stay in Green Bay. I think he'll finish a Packer. Because I have heard that his relationship has gotten better in Green Bay. So we'll probably see him again. For Offensive Player of the Year, go ahead.
Just to fact check real quick, it'll be his 4th MVP if he wins it this year.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, because he won one in 2011, 14, and then he won last year too.
what's the most by a quarterback?
Nice.
I'm sure Brady's got that, right?
I thought Brady had 3.
Does Brady have 3?
I'm about to look.
I think he's won 3.
Let's see.
I think it's 3 as well. I don't know why I think that.
3.
3. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. All right, so he'll win
So
his
7,
4th
10,
this
and
year.
17.
Nice.
See, more
Okay,
MVPs, less championships. I mean,
Yeah,
take
true.
what you can, I guess.
True. Offensive Player of the Year, the lines are even. They have Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor pretty much tied. They have Cooper Kupp as the favorite to win it. Cooper Kupp's had a great season. I think we can all agree what he's done this year. Granted, he did make a comment that he thinks there should be an asterisk. If he breaks the record, there should be an asterisk next to his name because it was done in a 17-game season. I respect him for saying that. But
I respect
this is
that,
the league.
yeah.
But this is a league who classifies its record by 16-game seasons now. And people who may have had records in the shorter seasons, they don't have them anymore because of the longer seasons. I think if Cooper Kupp breaks it next year or this weekend, I think he needs to be number 1. I don't know about an asterisk because the 17-game season is going to be normal, and records are going to be broken left and right just because of a 1-game longer season.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of the same thing with, because how many games did it used to be back in the day for MLB? Like back when Babe Ruth had the record? Was it
I have no idea.
152 or 150 games or something like that?
Yeah, it was.
I
Yeah,
feel like
it
my
was,
number's off, but I feel like it's because they wanted to put an asterisk beside that, when they finally broke that record. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And that's how many years later? 50 years?
Yeah. We said that Kupp needs 112 yards this week to break Megatron's single-season record. Again, it should go without saying that Cooper Kupp's had an incredible year in LA. This is his breakout campaign. I think he keeps it up. His route running is incredible. His hands are incredible. He is a sure target. Doesn't drop many, if any, passes. Matthew Stafford loves him. I think this Rams team is going to be really good when Robert Woods gets healthy and Cam Akers gets healthy.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that Cooper Kupp's kind of been the glue in that offense. When Matthew Stafford has struggled, if you throw the ball at Cooper Kupp, he's going to catch it and he's going to run. His yards after catch is really good. He makes plays. He gets in the end zone. Cooper Kupp's been incredible, and I think that should definitely be addressed.
That's the same thing with Jonathan Taylor, though. When Jonathan Taylor's been successful, the Colts have been successful. They both go hand in hand.
Yeah. To go on to Jonathan Taylor, his impact for Indianapolis has been absurd. I didn't think this Colts team would be that good. Again, I was one of the people who doubted Jonathan Taylor. I'll say it again and again. If he's available for fantasy next year, he's getting picked up by me. I'll never doubt that man again. Jonathan Taylor's been insane. I really like him. He's a great dude too. This is a guy who ran a lot at Wisconsin. Some of the things that were said to him that maybe he has a load, like his load was too high in college. He might get fatigued. And how long is the shelf life here? I don't think he'll keep this up forever. But he's had a great season, and Offensive Player of the Year will be great. MVP will be great, but still, it's not going to go unnoticed how good he did this year.
Oh, yeah, he's going to get a payday.
I got a question. Do you think the Offensive Player of the Year is going to come down to whether Cup gets the record or not?
I think Cup secured it.
You think he has?
Yeah.
What if Taylor goes out with a 200 piece next week?
If he goes out with 200, that would put him over 2,000, correct? Okay, so
put him right there at it.
Here you go. That would be worst case scenario for voters. Do you vote Cup, who had more yards than Megatron, right? Or do you vote Jonathan Taylor, who had a 2,000 yard season, and however many freaking touchdowns he had?
I feel like it's more rare to see that type of production out of a wide receiver rather than a running back.
I think that's when it starts to come down to, I guess what team you play for and the impact you had with them or for them.
Yeah.
Which, I know
they're both in very similar positions team-wise.
Yeah.
It's not like one team's secured a playoff spot yet. So I don't know.
Outside of Odell, which they just picked him up.
Yeah, it's Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
That has kind of cut into, I feel like, a little bit of his production, right? Odell,
so I'll kind of
addition.
Not really. No, I have him in fantasy. It hasn't. Not really. He's getting the targets. He's getting the catches. It's crazy.
Okay.
I think. What is Jonathan Taylor at? What is his yards mark at right now? Does anybody know? I want to know because I think there might be a high chance that they both get it because Jonathan Taylor's playing Jacksonville.
He's at 1,734 yards.
He would need borderline 300 to get. Yeah, he ain't getting 2,000.
Yeah, no.
But how many total touchdowns does he have?
18.
Yeah, how many touchdowns?
Well, 20 total touchdowns if you count receiving.
Yeah.
Shit.
How many does Cooper Cup have?
That's what I was about to ask.
10?
Probably. No, he probably has a little bit more than that.
Cooper Cup.
15.
15. That's.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's got 15 touchdowns.
It's also safe to say that this dude has had one of the greatest fantasy seasons ever. Yeah.
I don't think anybody will be upset. Yeah, I don't think anybody will be upset either way.
It's a win-win, I think.
They both deserve it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right,
make them co-offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
I also have another question. Is offensive player of the year is that going to be like the MVP just for your key skill positions on offense?
Probably.
Wide receiver, tight end, running back?
Probably.
Is that what because that's why I feel like they're not giving them the MVPs because they should kind of just take that as their own separate MVP.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Also, going back to the MVP talk, can y'all tell me which quarterback has the most MVPs? I just looked it up a minute ago. It's not really that far-fetched.
Troy Aikman?
No.
Manning?
No. Yeah, it's Peyton. He's got 5.
Yeah.
Jesus.
There you go. All right. Moving from the offensive side of the ball to the defensive side of the ball, TJ Watt, I think should win Defensive Player of the Year. Over 20 sacks. And he hadn't even played every game. I think he sat out a couple games. This dude's
14?
been
Is that 14 or 15 games he's done that in?
I think he's 14, if that.
And he's missed the second half in 2 games, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So that's fucking incredible, dude.
He came out. He should have won it last year, I think. I think he should have won it last year. He came out this year
Who
and
got it
said
last
there will
year?
be no
Garrett?
debate. No, it was Aaron Donald won it last year.
Oh, Donald.
Yeah. He basically said that I'm going to win it this year, and he did. I think he won it with last performance that he had. This year's been incredible for him with the amount of games he's played, with the impact he's had on the Steelers defense, who's a playoff team somehow. Maybe they're not a playoff team, but they're close.
They're 500 or 8-7.
They're over
7.
500. I think they're 8-7-1.
Oh, they got the tie. That's right.
Yeah. This dude was crazy on the defensive side of the ball. It was really the reason the Steelers had success on the defensive side of the ball. I think he won it last week on Monday night. But I want to know y'all's thoughts because I just don't see. I know Diggs has been incredible. I know Miles Garrett's been incredible. But holy.
The thing about TJ is his ability to stop the run too, as well as the pass. Like you see a lot of guys, they're very good pass rushers, but they're out of the play on the run. TJ can do everything. So I mean, there's no holes in his game.
He's been one of my favorite defensive players to watch this year. Him and Myles Garrett. I think what you can do to get in the backfield is so awesome. Because I know it's super hard to do, especially with these offensive linemen. And I know he had a backup. He was kind of abusing on Monday night, but this guy still gets paid to block, and he could not block TJ Watt.
Y'all want to hear a fun story?
Go ahead.
We drafted Taco Charlton over TJ Watt.
Old Taco.
Could you imagine him, D-Law, Gregory, and Parsons? Or just him, D-Law, and Parsons? Oh, my God.
No,
Jesus.
that would be insane.
I'm crying myself to sleep now.
Going on to the Cowboys. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I will rub Hitch's nutsack here. I would like to see Trayvon win it. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing that. But I think J. Watt's still front runner. I couldn't think of anyone else who deserves to win it more than him.
If it wasn't for him having it seems like he has a blown coverage once a game or once every other game or a couple times a game. If it wasn't for that, I would agree with you, Aven.
How many picks is he off in the record? Like 3?
3, yeah. I mean, he's got the most picks we've seen out of a cornerback, and I don't know how long.
Yeah, in a long time.
I mean, he's got the most since 1980? Which was a former Cowboy that did it then, too. I thought that was kind of crazy, but.
Is he not giving up the most receiving yards in the league this year?
Huh?
What'd you say?
Is he not giving up the most receiving yards in the league this year?
Something like that. He's giving up a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
They still get targeted a lot.
To be fair, they credit him with a lot of yards when he's supposed to have safety coverage over the top when they're in zone. And he kind of gets confused on whose ball it is sometimes, which is a him problem. I mean, it's still partly his fault, but man-to-man, I like to see
sometimes you're going to get burnt.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you're going to get burnt. You're playing on the one every game.
Yeah.
But it should not
But as he grows and develops, though, I wouldn't doubt to keep on saying that. I'm not going to say that quite this production on the picks, but
second year.
I could see him having 6-7 picks a year easily.
I mean, not to discredit Trayvon Diggs at all. I mean, he's a great football player, but I mean, you know, you always kind of hear like great cornerbacks, you never hear nothing from them throughout the game because they're doing their job. So, I mean,
he gets targeted a lot, which we are up a lot where they have to throw.
So, I mean,
it's just crazy.
He's on the one receiver.
It's crazy. He'll lock down like Scary Terry for Washington, and then he goes out there and gets torched by a third-round wide receiver from this year's draft, you know?
He's got a bright future either way.
Yeah, he's going to be good.
He's going to be fine.
Yeah.
One more guy I want to mention is Myles Garrett. What he did for the Browns this year. That Browns defense was scary at times, but other times it didn't look good. But Myles Garrett seemed to always be on the quarterback, chasing them down. He had a pretty good amount of sacks this year. Again, not even close to TJ, but he was really good this year. I thought this was kind of his I'm still here campaign. I'm still really good. Don't forget about me. And he'll definitely be top three or four in the voting. He was really, really good this year for Cleveland.
He also
I know at times
has the most double teams out of anybody in the league too. You got to put that into a factor in his stats too, because I think he's got like not 50%, but like 20% more double teams than TJ does.
Yeah,
which is kind of a big number. I mean, that's every 5 snaps.
No, it is.
And
yeah.
I mean, I'd like to think that these double teams come from not only him putting up the numbers he has, but I honestly think these offensive lines are scared they're going to kill, or he's going to kill their quarterback. So
you'd think they would have the same precautions for TJ, but
I mean, he also, leads the league in hitting players with their own helmets. So
he does do that. He does do that. Yeah. Myles Garrett was borderline unstoppable this year. Dude's a monster. Dude's huge. He's going to be really good for the Browns if he stays for a long time. I think that's a guy that the Browns need to have to be successful on defense. Moving on from Defensive Player of the Year, we're going to move to Offensive Rookie of the Year, which 2 weeks ago Mac Jones was the favorite. But then Jamar put up a crazy stat line with 11 receptions, 266 yards, 3 tutties against a Chiefs defense that was really good for the last couple of months. And Jamar Chase, did he make his case for Rookie of the Year?
Absolutely.
I don't know, man. I think it's still close.
How many receiving yards he has this year?
Over 1,200.
I think it's 14. Or close, or 13 or 14, ain't it? He passed
I think he had 1,200.
Jefferson.
Yeah, he did.
He passed Jefferson for the most rookie year.
He broke his old teammate's record. He sure did. But not only that, this is a connection between Burrow and Jamar Chase that has already existed from college. Do you think that young quarterbacks, do you think that teams are going to go after wide receivers that are NFL ready on their same team? We see it with Tua and Jalen Waddle. We've seen it with Jamar Chase, and we've seen it with Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts. Do you think that will become a regular thing, or do you think that's just crazy that the amount of receivers that have come out for these teams? Do you think this might be a regular thing?
I think it's definitely a bonus regardless, but I think the fact that, like, there's not many teams that are going to have the same type. Like, for example, it's Alabama. You're going to have the best of the best at every position.
Yeah, you still got Jamison Williams and Mechie about to come out, too, from Alabama. So,
like, let's say you go to let's say just hypothetically a Southern Miss quarterback comes out and he was really good with a certain wide receiver. You're not going to see him going in the first round like those guys did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you probably still could steal them in like maybe a later round pick or a free agency pick or something. I think that would still be a plus, you know.
We're gonna see it more out of like more premier programs. I think Alabama, especially like with LSU, that LSU football team is one of the best of all time. I think you'll see more of more premier programs.
Like Oklahoma, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. It was like a Kyler. It would be Kyler and CeeDee. You know, I mean, it didn't happen. Obviously, CeeDee and Kyler were just really good. It kind of deals with chances. Not only that, but the kind of competitiveness of your program. Because I mean, the odds of Joe Burrow throwing to Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Thaddeus Moss and all these guys, Terrace Marshall. I mean, that's crazy to think of. And then on the Alabama side, you have 3 quarterbacks that played at your school at one time, and they're all starters in the NFL, along with Waddle, along with Devontae Smith, along with Jerry Jeudy. That's crazy to think they had all those guys. That's 2 teams. That's just 2 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
I will say that Mac Jones has been really good this year. He fits into a scheme. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Given what he has to work with too, I mean, you can't leave Kyle Pitts out of the talk neither. I mean, he's had a really good year.
No, Kyle Pitts.
He lost it in the first 6 weeks. He lost it in the first 6 weeks.
He has done what no other rookie tight end has done before. Kyle Pitts has been a monster, and he's a guy that can beat. You know, he's big and fast. He's fast enough to beat a linebacker. He's big enough to work a defensive back. He's one of those guys.
Had he not been drafted to Atlanta. I think he has a much greater chance.
Man, he still had over 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the advantage. I mean, no Julio anymore. Was it Ridley? Ridley opted out of the season pretty much. I mean, who else do they got? Gage? You got
his two wide receivers that he's working with right now is Russell Gage and Olamide Zacchaeus. So those are two guys.
That's my point right there. I don't even know who the hell that dude is.
Yeah, well,
he's only got one touchdown though.
Oh,
yeah.
Who, Cal Pitts?
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah,
because Cordell Patterson's taking all of them, and he does everything.
Oh, I forgot about Cordero. I actually saw that Cordero Patterson won Most Improved Fantasy Player for one of the fantasy websites. So good for him. Congratulations.
I didn't feel it.
I know that.
Congrats to JoJo on that pickup. That was a very, very, very strong pickup, JoJo. I hope you're watching this tomorrow.
Yeah, I tried to trade for him. Last rookie I'll talk about is another SEC. Is all the four guys that we're talking about are SEC guys. Last one is Naji Harris and what he did in Pittsburgh this year. Powerful back. Again with Big Ben, maybe not the best fit for him right now, but I think he has a good career in Pittsburgh or whatever he does. I think he's got a lot of potential. Dude's going to be a monster.
I think as they get new quarterbacks, he's going to be the focal point of the offense. You ain't going to see that throwing 60 times a game.
Yeah.
You ain't going to see them throwing it 60 times a game anymore.
Yeah.
So that's just going to set up for Najee to do his thing, which he can do everything. He can catch, he can run, everything. I'm sure he can block too. I haven't watched many Steelers games to judge that, but
1,100 yard rushing is a pretty good rookie campaign. So he also had 440 yards receiving, which ain't bad.
So yeah, he can receive. He's a very good receiving back too. I just wanted to kind of fly through the offensive rookies of the year. I think Jamar made this statement last week. If he goes out and has another good week this week, I think he wins it. They just like giving quarterbacks awards because I thought Jefferson was great last year, but Herbie did have a great year too. This is kind of like Jamar Chase just broke Jefferson's record, so I think they give it to Jamar Chase.
Okay, so I'm not taking away from Chase on anything, but you got Mac Jones over here competing with who we thought was the best team in the NFL through the first 6-7 weeks in the Bills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they got the same record, right?
Yeah, they do.
I mean,
but the Bills went first
because they're competing with a juggernaut of a team in the Bills. Like
you're not talking about where that game where they passed the ball 4 times.
Yeah, I mean.
Was it that windy-ass game? He threw the ball 4 times that game?
Yeah.
They won that game, didn't they?
Yeah, I think not.
They
no,
did.
I think it did a different game. But yeah, I think he threw the ball 4 times that game.
He did. He threw it. It was
as much as we hate to admit it, I think the Patriots franchise is still very much alive with Mac Jones. Better than Tom Brady. I mean, he's playing in a better division.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
I mean, Tom Brady's division sucked. I mean,
can we phone in A-Day real quick to get him here to talk about this?
No, we can't.
Want me to?
No.
Want to make a guest appearance? No.
The last award that we're going to talk about is Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's Micah Parsons. Before we get to Micah Parsons, though, this was a pretty good defensive class. 2 of them got hurt. J.C. Horn, who was did pretty well with Carolina early. The kid from Virginia Tech got hurt as well. Do you remember his name? He went to the Titans.
Cornerback.
Yeah.
Was that Horn?
Farley?
No.
Caleb Farley.
No. Oh, yeah.
J.C. Horn was a kid from South Carolina. Caleb Farley was Virginia Tech. Surtain from Alabama, who went to Denver. Right. He had a good year as well. But nobody is even coming close to Micah Parsons. So, Hitch, if you want to go and rant about your linebacker that y'all got that I liked in college that I thought he was going to be a good athlete, go ahead.
Man, let me tell you what, dude. I know we're sitting there, sucking on old TJ's dick just a few minutes ago. Micah Parsons literally does everything, man. You could put him at cornerback, and he'll be better than Trevon Diggs. I mean, you put him anywhere. Let him rush the quarterback. He literally was only rushing the quarterback like half of his snaps, and he still had 13 sacks. He's got 80-something tackles, I believe.
84.
I mean, 84 tackles. I mean, you throw him at middle linebacker, outside linebacker, fucking safety, kick returner. I don't care. He's the best in the league. It don't matter. Put him at quarterback. I don't care. I don't know. We got Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson's daddy QB. He's QB one on the Cowboys. Quarterback.
Yeah. What Micah Parsons done this year has head and shoulders put him above to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Again, this was a good class coming in, and I thought Parsons was a great athlete. I loved him at Penn State. I thought he was a great pickup for Dallas when they got him. Y'all got him a little later than I thought he would go because I thought y'all were going to get Surtain, and then he got picked. I thought y'all were going to get Farley.
Bamboozled us on that, but we bamboozled them on the pick now.
Yeah. And, with Farley and J.C. Horn with injuries, I think you won the defensive rookie draft. I mean, kudos to the front office to see his potential. I had a franchise in Madden, and, I put in the little, the updated draft, whatever, where they made the rosters. And my first round pick at 8 was Micah Parsons, and he won defensive rookie of the year. Yeah. So I think it's only fair that Micah Parsons wins defensive rookie of the year.
For sure.
All right. I think that's enough NFL talk. Go ahead.
Can I just holler at something Pettigo real quick? I know y'all may not care. Pettigo, per one of my sources, I heard that Soup Connor is entering the transfer portal.
Yeah, I've also heard the same thing. So don't be surprised if he announces leaving pretty soon.
Yeah.
Great. Snoop breaking news. Breaking news on the Mad Dogs podcast.
Didn't he lead Ole Miss in rushing touchdowns this year?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but it was also brought up last year that he might transfer. So it's been a 2-year thing going on. Don't be surprised if he leaves.
What if he got an NIL deal with Snoop Dogg? That'd be lit, huh?
God, I hate you.
You have to drug test that kid every week.
Is weed illegal in college football?
No.
No. I don't think
it's all right,
legal in college football.
Moving on from the NFL to the NBA real quick. We'll go over this a little fast. I know we're still on the football train, but we are trying to make the transition into basketball. One of the most impressive things that I've seen this year, the Memphis Grizzlies are hot. And they did a lot of this winning without John Morant. And now John Morant's back. And they're winning games with a lot of guys on COVID. This team's scary good, and they are scary young.
Yeah, they got a lot of guys like Brandon Clark. I mean, they got Steven Adams now. Love him.
Yeah.
Maybe an OKC guy. But, I mean, everybody does their job. Everybody steps up. Their defense is great. Ability to score. I mean, can't really ask for much more out of the team.
I think the healthy starting 5 would be Dillon Brooks, Kyle Anderson, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Steven Adams. But that 3 spot, you could put Desmond Bane, who's been really good in his second year. I can't remember where he's from. I'll have to keep an eye on that. I'll probably think of it later. I want to say he's from Michigan State, but that might be wrong. Desmond Bane, 3-point specialist. He's been a lot better scorer than Kyle Anderson. He's been a consistent guy wherever they put him. And Dillon Brooks has been really good. He stepped up in Ja's absence. They got guys like DeAnthony Melton, Brandon Clark, like you said. Xavier Tillman's really good. They're a really young guy. This team has really stepped up. They're young. Like I said, one of my games of the week was Cavs Grizzlies. Grizzlies take that game in a close one, but I think they're the best young team in the NBA, and I really don't think it's close right now.
Just to fact check, he was at TCU, Desmond Bane.
Desmond Bane was at TCU. Okay. Nice.
I will say Grizzlies front office should be proud because what they did in the draft the last 2 years is why they're at where they're at right now.
Yeah.
They're five games ahead in the division right now.
I mean,
4.5.
Ja Morant and Brandon. Was it
Yeah.
Ja and Brandon Clark in the same draft and then JJJ, right?
Jerem was the year
Or was he the
before
year
Ja
before?
and Brandon Clark.
Okay, yeah.
And then last year was Desmond Bain. I can't remember the other one. This year was Xavier Tillman and Zaire Williams.
And
I mean, that's why they're at where they're at right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of basketball, but I mean, looking at it, I mean, you'd have to think Memphis would have to build well through the draft because, I mean, you're not hearing a lot of guys in free agency like, yeah, I want to stay in Memphis. Let's go play there.
No one wants to live in Memphis.
But when you have somebody like Ja alone's going to be able to recruit some pretty big names, I believe.
Especially playing the way he's playing right
too.
now. Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
It's
he's
really
building
impressive
something
to see.
in Memphis, for sure.
But now, what I don't want to see is them recruit a super team. Like, if you draft a super team, awesome. But I don't want to see them stack a team. Like,
they don't have.
That's the only way you can win nowadays, though.
Yeah, you're right. But I do think that the Grizzlies have beaten the Suns, the Warriors, and the Lakers twice already. And they beat the Warriors and the Suns on the road. And they beat the Jazz at home. But this team is really good, and I think they're really fun to watch. They're young. Ja Morant is going to be a superstar. I think he'll win a couple MVPs even. I think he's that good.
Yeah.
Those are the teams that's going to make it deep in the playoffs, man. It's those teams with defense. Yeah. That's why I'm not big on the Nets, because they ain't got none.
Yeah, you're right. Moving on from the West to the East, the Chicago Bulls, who had a great offseason, getting guys like Lonzo Ball and their biggest one, DeMar DeRozan, who won 2 games for them last week. They are first place in the Eastern Conference, and we knew that they would be good with the offseason additions they got, but I didn't think they'd be first place in the East. But here we are in early January, and they're still sitting at the top. They're still hot, and they're still really good. Do you think this is kind of a hot streak, or do you think this team is legit? You think this team is legit?
I'm not going to lie. I thought when they first picked up them guys, I thought there would be growing pains, and I thought they would be a playoff team, but I didn't think that they would be running deep like they are.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, similar kind of to the Grizzlies outside of the age or whatever, they're just put together well. Defense is great, and they got plenty of guys you can go to, like final shot type situations that can score. I mean,
as of right now, they are 25-10, and they are 8-2 in their last 10. So this is kind of where the Bulls are sitting. This is ahead of the Bucks. They're defending champs. This is ahead of the Nets with their super team. This is ahead of, I'm sure I'm forgetting another good team in the East. With the Knicks not playing well, the Hawks not playing well, Sixers, they're ahead of the Sixers. This Bulls team is going to be a scary thing in the East. We will keep an eye on them. I like watching them. I hate the Bulls personally. They beat the Knicks, so I can't like them. But this is a team that's pretty good. And by the way, can I talk about the Knicks real quick? Last night we had everybody healthy for the first time. RJ Barrett dropped the 30-piece, and Julius Randle dropped the 30-piece double-double. So when we're healthy, we're good. Just want y'all to know that.
Who's y'all's number one, Wilky, on a side note?
Best player?
Yeah. Is it Randle?
Are you talking about starting?
Yeah. No, Randall's just like y'all's number one guy. Okay.
Yeah, Randall's probably still the one.
It's gonna be hard making it with him as your number one guy, but personal opinion.
It's either Kemba or Julius Randle. So, Kemba's very good when he plays.
I think y'all are one piece away, Will.
Yeah, we are. Evan Fournier has been pretty good off the bench, though, I will say. But I don't want to start him anymore. I'll get into that later. The last thing I want to talk about in the NBA is Kyrie returned to the Nets tonight after his long battle with the vaccination and on eligibility to play. Now, I'm going to fact check this real quick. I'm going to go to ESPN, and I'm going to go to the Nets game. When we started this podcast, they were down 14. He had 8 points. They ended up winning. They won. They won 129-121. And Kyrie
22, 3 and 4.
22. Okay.
No Russ.
Well,
I guess.
They were down 14 in the third. So
That's scary.
Also, the
Scary for the
Warriors
East
lost to the
anyways.
Mavericks. The Warriors lost to the Mavericks, and the Rockets beat the Wizards. It was a weird night.
I will say, OKC covered tonight, boys. So that's one win in the column. Got our ass beat, but we lost by less than 10. So
there you go. My NBA picks did not look good tonight. By the way, the Hornets put up 140 against the Pistons tonight.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Okay, so I guess that didn't cover.
God bless. 140 to 111.
I said they ain't gonna lose by 12 or whatever the hell it was.
I hope you bet the over. But Kyrie, obviously, the big three. Do you have their stats?
79 combined points between the big three.
There you go. That's the kind of production you need from this team. So
they only won by 8.
Not much. Yeah, their defense is atrocious. Sabonis had 32 though. So
Sabonis, man.
Yeah, he's been very good. Yeah, this is a team
traded
that
him for a water bottle.
Yeah.
Love that.
Just to touch on it a little bit, Kyrie kind of gives me Antonio Brown-esque vibes. But as far as I can tell, like the Nets have handled it pretty well. Like they don't it seems like the teammates kind of cooperate with it a little better than what you'd think, given what's happened.
Why him not wanting to get vaccinated?
Well, not only that, I mean, he's had problems before. Like, I understand the whole vaccine thing. I mean, I wouldn't want to be made to get a shot that I don't want to get neither. Like, I understand all that. But, like, I mean, even before, like, it's just not.
He's very controversial.
Yeah.
He is controversial.
But I feel like the Nets, like, locker room and organizations handled it pretty well.
Yeah, they have. Again, this is a team that's got to have all three of their guys step up if they want to win a championship. I mean, we saw it last year. I thought the Bucks were the better team. I said they would win. They did. And one thing I kind of have with Klay Thompson coming back and then Kyrie coming back, hopefully we get back to an all-healthy NBA and kind of see what the full potential for these teams are, because the Nets have played below average. I think if you have Kevin Durant and James Harden on the team, you should be better than what you are. And in basketball, it is a little bit different. You can have two guys make a difference in the game. But if you have three, they should be doing pretty well with Kyrie if they share the ball, do a pretty good job together. As for the Warriors, when they get Klay back, man, they're already a really good team. Once they get Klay back, this team is going to be absolutely – they shouldn't lose another game. They shouldn't lose another game.
But Jordan Poole's stepping up too. Jordan Poole's look amazing.
They scored 82 points tonight. Wiggins led in scoring.
Steph was off.
Steph Curry.
Bad.
Steph Curry, y'all ready for this? He had 14, 9, and 5. He shot 5 of 24 from the field.
Oof.
1 of 9 from.
If it was Russell Westbrook, he would be getting assassinated on damn Twitter, dude. People would be killing his
I haven't really
ass.
checked Twitter. Luka had 26, and Kristaps did not play. So
they lost to
the way,
Mavs team
Dallas.
without Kristaps.
Yeah.
Talking
Tim
about
Hardaway had
the
14 off the bench.
Talking
have
about
nights
the
like that.
Warriors a little bit. I mean, did it ever feel like people actually like wrote them off? Like we knew what the Warriors had. I mean, I know they had a down year, but I mean, this is pretty much like if you look at it, the same team that won 70 or 73 games. What was it, 2015?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I don't see that type of domination ever again. But I don't know, man. They're gonna be good. They're still gonna be good.
With Klay back, I think they lose less than. They probably lose about 15 games, I think.
Well, that being said, I mean, Klay coming off an ACL and an Achilles injury. I mean, you don't know how healthy he's going to be, but I mean, it's proved this year it don't really matter. Mm-mm. So I mean, it don't hurt anything having him back. If anything, it's just going to make him better, obviously.
I did hear that they were going to start him back in the starting lineup as well.
He needs to be. I think
he's a man off the bench a little bit here and there. He's wanting to come back, be in the starting lineup.
So Clay's
I don't know
a 2,
if that's why
right?
it's taking so long or what, but
Clay is a 2. He's a 2 guard.
yeah. He can play
So
the
you'll
3
have
as well, but
So you'll have Steph, Clay, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney will be their starting 5.
and Jordan Poole off the bench, who he's probably gonna play
Jordan
starter minutes
Poole,
off the bench.
Q Weatherspoon, this is with Gary Payton also will be coming off the bench. That'll be pretty good. We're gonna move on. We're gonna kind of wrap things up here. Again, we have our favorite segments at the end. Today, we do bring back Underdog of the Week, Superdawg of the Week, and Dawg of the Week. I'll start first with my Underdog of the Week. I just literally said it like 10 minutes ago. Don't tell me, I'm going to remember. It is in the NFL, though. So,
You said Bears, right?
Yeah, the Bears are plus 3.5, I think, to the Vikings on the road. I think the Vikings are bad, and they don't care anymore. And I think the Bears, they're going to run Justin Fields out there if healthy. And the Bears, who beat the Seahawks 2 weeks ago, I think they go out there and they don't just cover. I think they straight up beat the Vikings. Who wants to go? Hitch, you want to go ahead and go?
I got you. My Underdog of the Week, obviously, we go back to college football. Definitely Bama. They spanked Georgia's ass last time they faced. Saban, it's going to be well prepared.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm not just taking spread, I'm taking money line.
There you go.
It's Alabama.
Aven, I think you have one similar.
I was gonna go Bama there, but I'm actually gonna take Ole Miss against Mississippi State Saturday night. They don't have the basketball. They don't have the spread home, but Ole Miss is 7-1 at home right now after a good game against Tennessee. I think Ole Miss may be able to hold their. The spread's not posted. But I'd say they're gonna give it a good run at the money there.
I like that. Good one, Aven.
You're crazy, Aven.
Go. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Chargers with a 3-point spread against the Raiders.
Are they favored or no?
No. Raiders are favored. No, that's wrong. Chargers are favored. So I messed that up, didn't I?
It's not an Underdog.
Yeah.
That's your Superdawg.
He's like, now I'm taking the Raiders.
Okay. No. All right. So
give me Derek Carr.
Let's go with Seattle then against the Cardinals 6.5.
I kind of like
Underdog.
I like that one.
My bad. I messed that up.
No, you're good.
Fuck midget boy.
For my Superdawg.
You can't say nothing about midget boy, Dylan.
Fuck him.
For my Superdawg of the week, I'm taking the Chiefs minus 10.5. Broncos don't care. Chiefs are playing for the 1 seed. They're going to go out there and beat them by 20. I think they were mad about the loss last week, and they're just going to take it out on poor Denver. So I got the Chiefs minus 10.5.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and do mine.
Oh, yeah, Pettigo.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers against the Raiders as a 3-point favorite.
Hitch, go ahead.
Wait, go Aven. I got to look at the spreads.
Oh. I was going to go Cincinnati, but I just realized they were Underdog that game.
Yeah, that's
they
crazy.
They plus 6. Yeah, that is crazy.
That is
I'm going to take
weird.
Green Bay. I'll take Green Bay. I don't know what the spread is, but I don't think Detroit covers it with Rodgers and Devontae.
I think it was low. I think it was low.
4 points.
4 points?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no shot.
The only thing I see is
Packers are going to run away with that.
Yeah, I think Detroit, the only way they cover is backdoor cover when they take Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams out of the game. And it's like a field goal or touchdown, it doesn't matter. All right, Hitch.
I'm taking the Cowboys, of course. Spreads at 7. I think we beat them by fucking 27. I think they're going to be angry after last week, and I think we're just going to sweep them under the rug. I think we're just going to absolutely maul their ass. So
Yeah. You're playing the Eagles, right?
yeah.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts almost got smushed by his own fans last week.
Yeah, he did. That was crazy.
So
that was crazy. All right, so we got Dog of the Week. If you're just now listening to this podcast, you've made it this far. Dog of the Week is somebody from the last week in any sport that surprised us. It can be a team, it can be a performance, somebody who maybe is inconsistent or maybe gets overlooked. This week, I'm going with the Missouri women's basketball team with their win over number 1 South Carolina. Dawn Staley, great coach at South Carolina. But Missouri women's basketball with 7 players on the roster that night because of COVID and injuries, go out there, beat the number 1 team in the nation. You don't really see that in women's basketball very often. I think they deserve a nod. It was awesome to see. I actually did watch the end of that game, and I think that Missouri women's basketball, you are my Dog of the Week. You are awesome. Thank you for beating a powerhouse that us as Mississippi State women's basketball fans hate. You deserve every minute to brag and hold that above their heads forever. So they're my Dog of the Week.
Yeah, it's a cool moment. You don't really see upsets.
You don't. It was awesome. Pettigo, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to go with, I'm probably about to butcher his name, but I'm going with Jackson Smith Najigba.
Yep.
In the Rose Bowl.
What?
Jackson Smith Najigba.
Say it faster.
Najigba.
Say it a little faster.
Say it 3 times fast.
Jackson Smith Najigba. The wide receiver from Ohio State. He wears 11. 347 receiving yards, 15 receptions. He averaged 23.1 yards a catch. So that's ridiculous. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's rough.
I'm going to go out. Oh.
You got it, Aven. You got it, big fella.
Yeah, Aven, go ahead.
I'm going to take Spencer
That's
Sanders.
Nation Dragon.
Who'd you say?
Spencer Sanders and the Fiesta Bowl. Had a really big game. Hasn't been a good quarterback, decent quarterback all year, but I think really showed out in the win against Notre Dame in that bowl. So I'm gonna go Spencer Sanders there.
I'm gonna go Anthony Simmons. I don't know if y'all heard about that story the other day. Went and dropped a 43 piece. I don't know who it was against, but it was the day after his granddad passed away of cancer. And I mean, this is just a simple role player, goes out there and drops 43. I think that's pretty awesome. So
that is awesome. I did not know that. With Portland?
Yeah.
Is that who he plays for? Yeah, that's awesome. I did not know that. That's actually a cool story. Great week for sports. Thank you guys for watching. It's been awesome to record. We know we had a limited cast today, but we should have everybody back on Sunday night to preview the national championship. We'll talk about week 18, the NFL playoffs. Should be a lot of fun. Until next time, guys, I appreciate you guys watching or listening, whatever you did. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks, guys. Remember, professional athlete or not, don't go starting fights in convenience stores. So.
Thank you, Pettigo. Thank you.